Gary'sApps.com is the destination for apps that helps gig workers be safer, more focused, and more proficient. The Maximo app, which is spelled Maxymo, it helps Uber, Lyft, and Grubhub drivers by automatically switching between apps and turning them on or off as needed. For example, if a driver accepts an Uber trip, Maximo will turn off all the other apps that are online, and when the trip is completed, it'll turn the apps back on for the driver. It will also auto-accept or decline offers based on the driver's personal preferences that they set directly in Maximo. Then they have the Driver's Utility Helper app, also known as DUH, which is similar to Maximo, but is only for DoorDash drivers. It as well can help by automatically accepting or declining offers, in addition to showing drivers on-screen information such as the per-mile rate and how long until the delivery is due, which will allow the driver to make a decision quicker when the request comes in. The last app is Flex Alert for Amazon Flex drivers. It takes the hassle out of tapping the screen for hours on end, which can be exhausting, by automatically tapping the refresh button for the driver and then alerting them when a new block appears. This way they can focus on a more important task, driving. Find out more at Gary's Apps, GARYS apps.com for more information and download the apps you need today.
Everybody. So the only one that was, oh no, Marco too. So the only two that were here were John and Marco last week.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, with other people too. You guys, that was I don't know if anybody missed it who normally watches, but that was a really good episode. I mean, I enjoyed it, man. I thought you guys together made a great discussion. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to take a little credit for putting that team together, but just because I don't know, it seemed like you guys had some great conversations. It was a little bit different. Hopefully, everybody in the chat and whatnot enjoyed it too, because I thought it was really good. I thought you guys covered all the topics really well, and there were some tough ones, of which let's first say hi to everybody here. We got John-Theory TV. Did he freeze? Oh. We got Nova Hustles, Marco on the far end. Got Hannibal is Hungry right under me. And then next to him, we got Kim's Side Money Plans. So real quick, because I'm finally I've put that parapiece together today. It premiered, and I'm kind of, all that's like, it's not behind me because it's still a lot of stuff that we're doing, but I'm kind of like trying to move past that in the videos. But I do want to say to everybody that wonders, I've seen a lot of the trolling. I don't care. I probably shouldn't even mention it, but I heard Pedro say some things when he was driving home, and I kind of agreed with them all. You know, like, I know that it's better just not to address that crap. Hannibal knows it's better just not to address that crap. Just let it be. But to be honest, every single person that had something bad to say, or the ones I saw, and I won't name any by names, but they all do nothing but trash the community to begin with. And I don't like saying this kind of stuff. That's why I'm not going to use names. But to anybody that says it wasn't a success, you're crazy. The whole weekend, I mean, 2 different events completely, but tied together to make 2-day event that was, I mean, it had everything. I mean, yes, it's still growing. And I mean, Pedro challenged anyone. Hey, man, go do a gig con. Go do what Steve did and bring a senator and a House member and gig workers together from all these states. Go do something. Go do something off the camera. I mean, this is what the kind of stuff Pedro was saying. And I was kind of sitting there going, man, I fully agree. You know, like, do something before you just, and I get it. Some of them are just trolls. You're just trolls and you're just doing what you do. But those are zapped down. I'm talking about more the people that we know. Like, there's a deeper conversation than just, you know, what base pay is. And in fact, to me, base pay doesn't even matter anymore. I'm not being a jerk, but I don't care. The bigger pictures are so big that I've even said, take base pay away. That's empowering the DoorDash anyway. It's allowing them to say, yeah, we pay the drivers. They would literally have to move to a we don't pay them in a final screen that you selected how much they're going to get paid. I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, when it was high, now it's like 2 and all this weird stuff. Why not? Why don't they want it to get to 0? Because 0 means they can't say PR and say, no, we pay our drivers. They'd have to move to our drivers are paid solely by you, the customers. So I don't know. I'm not, I see a lot of people like base pay or this or that or the other. And to them, I'm not even dogging on you. I would just say, I actually challenge you guys to, in a, same type of thing that Pedro did. I not to necessarily, I mean, maybe putting on an event like this is something, you wouldn't want to, you couldn't do, whatever, but do something before you just rant and rave. Do something. Now, most trolls will just rant and rave anyway. So it is what it is. But I would suggest do something. You can do it off the camera. Go meet with a representative. Go, these people are approachable. But do something before you just are ripping on what happened, because I can tell you a lot of time, effort, energy went into this. I mean, a lot. And yes, we were a little under the gun getting it together. And Pedro's well aware that we need to do it way in advance. Excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse. But yeah, I mean, so that was, I think, the only thing that you could say is that a little more planning. And it's not even a point of contention anyway, but a little more time to plan that would have even allowed more building. So live and learn is how I see it. And each one's gone better. I do think the in-person ones are the ones that we could really build on. The online one probably could, but I think it would have to be something different. But I mean, that's 3 of them or 2.5. I don't know how we count them, but anyway, you guys smack that like, don't be trolls. And if you see trolls, call them out. If I mean, some people I'm slowly getting, there's 2 mod wrenches. I'm giving a handful of people the kill mod wrench, where you can override a mod. So I don't want it done, but you guys, if you just want to be in here saying how bad things are that you didn't have any part of, didn't attend, and only watched a minute or 2 of just to laugh, to me that's not. I mean, you're not doing yourself a service. You're not doing anybody a service, and you should be doing yourself a service. You shouldn't be worrying about base pay. You should be worrying about the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think the biggest, just real quick, I think the biggest takeaway, and hopefully, Hannibal was there and Steve, you were there. The biggest takeaway I really loved is meeting people like you guys, Rick, drivers just being drivers, whether you're a content creator or not. We're all, at the end of the day, drivers going out and making money, and just listening to people's stories and where they came from. I mean, we had someone from Hawaii there. We had people from Florida. Like, it was literally all over the country. And the connections that you make, to me, were invaluable.
We had DJ and his wife too, who literally have traveled. We were looking at his map. He's got this map on his phone. I don't know if you saw it too, Kim, but
yeah, they were awesome.
I mean, I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, you guys sure do avoid Texas, huh? Because it's like the whole rest of the country they had North Dakota and stuff, but everything around Texas was avoided. It's like, you could just see they went to all the states except for, they're just like, nope.
Steve, let me add in real quick about the convention and everything. I definitely understand some criticism. Obviously, constructive is obviously more helpful. So there's certain things that we'll definitely improve on in the future. Shout out to you and Pedro, especially doing this and getting this together in such a short period of time. For Pedro to even get it to where it was, he, like I said, sometimes I don't think he's human. He's a human being. Like, he's an alien. Like, he just works and works and works and works to get this going. And people who they may not understand how much effort that was placed into it and how many things kind of came together to make it to the event that it is. And that's fine. I don't mind some of the criticism, some of the stuff that we need to improve on next year, where we could try to bring more of the conference across to someone watching on their phone, on their computer, in a more, obviously a better audio, better visuals. So those things are, those are worthwhile criticisms to have. But I think some of, like, as you call the trolling, or some of the people who just have a problem with everything that we're doing, so it's not a surprise, but they wouldn't like it. I think some people don't know what a convention is. Like, they need to look it up, because I'm not sure what they are looking for. I mean, convention is just a meeting of people, right? All with a common like thing to talk about. Like, that's it. Like Comic-Con. People who like comic books and Marvel and movies and stuff like that. That's a convention. Like, that's what it is. It's a gathering of meetings. So of people in person. So when people say, why doesn't happen? Or why you didn't get Tony Shu in here? Like, how you didn't kidnap him and bring him into the convention? You're like, well, that's not, realistic, obviously. So I don't know. I think some people confusing convention with like activism or something like that. I don't know what it is. Some of the comments were outrageous. The ones who criticized, like, some were so outrageous. I'll tell you this right now. I'm not going to mention the video or the person. They're not important. They threw a theory out that me, you, and Pedro basically got all the YouTubers paid us to join the con. So Kim paid me money to show up at the con. That's what one of the
Kim went.
And I'm thinking, like, where? I'm looking at my account and I'm like, Kim didn't send me any money. I didn't get any money from
I didn't get money from John. I didn't get money from Marco.
So, like, where did they like? So it's interesting that we, I guess you can call this media, but it's a very small part of media. It's not mainstream media. But I get to realize people make stuff up. Like, people just literally just making up.
I know, dude.
Like, they should write fan fiction. Like, they should write novels. Like, these conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, I'll tell you guys right now, I'm not going to talk about Steve's money or Pedro's money. I lost money. Going because I canceled clients. I lost money to show up.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at my bank account, and again, maybe Kim's check is lost in the mail. I didn't get any money from any YouTubers. And if you ask me if I'd do it again, absolutely.
Don't hold your breath in receiving it there, Hannibal.
Right. It wasn't about that. It was about talking to people like Rick, talking to people, dashers who, for different reasons, traveling across the country, doing it just for, retirement. They're retired. They're doing it just to get some extra money to go on trips and do other things, pay expenses. Content creators. Some people who came in just started a channel. Like, I just started a channel talking about how to make videos on YouTube. Those are the conversations. Those are the things that I enjoyed. I still remember the first time meeting Kim. Saw her, she turned around, like how excited we were, even though we're an hour away. Those are the connections that are important. That happens in conventions because you bring people together. So it is what it is. You can't make everyone happy. I think we just gotta, improve and, be around the people who want to build this and continue to grow. Because it wasn't about the money. If it was, I wouldn't be there because I lost money. Again, I'm not gonna talk about Steve's money or Pedro's money, but it wasn't about the money. If it was, I wouldn't showed up.
No, dude. I mean, to be honest, and I honestly, I don't care what they think, but I think what Hannibal just said is pretty much true for all of us, because we all could have been making money at home. We all could have been creating content, doing things that do help us. Even the content for me, like, I don't earn much off YouTube, but guess what? It helps me go create my audio podcast and keep my brand and all this stuff going. When you take a long hiccup like that or a long time off, it's hard. It's hard to take a day off. But to take a long time off and to be planning an event like that, I mean, I don't know. To me, I guess my only reason for even bringing it up, I would have, if any other event, I would have just gone, whatever. But the only reason I'm even bringing it up is because this is such an important thing that to be trashing this, I hope it shows to the people who get along with everybody or try to. I hope it shows to you something, because it does to me. Like, I've for a long time, I've just had people push to the back. Like, I don't care what they say. Don't care. But when they're hurting something that's actually going on nationwide to help all of us, I'm going to be honest, they're just showing that they're only out for them and they're out to trash.
Yeah.
I just think
whether you want to believe it or not, many of us, we're out. Yes, I'm out to take care of my family, but I'm out for the community too. These videos are not podcasts. Go ahead, Gim. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I just felt like the 2 days was such positive vibes, no matter where you went, whether you went to GigCon, whether you went to the town hall, like there was nothing but positivity, no matter where you went. And I just felt like for once, for 2 days, everybody was just united. And I felt like we had such a strong community of gig workers. And I don't think anything can take that away, just based off of being there and being part of the positive experience. And you know what? We were there. We know what went on, and I'm grateful for that experience.
I fully agree. I would hate for somebody that's kind of more new to YouTube to get misinformed and think, oh, okay, that's all a joke. Okay, I'll just focus on this. Because no, this isn't all a joke. We're talking about some real stuff over here. Yes, we have fun. Yes, we talk about some fun topics too. And we try and mix it up because we don't want to be like I said a couple times before we started on Saturday. I don't know if any of you heard me, but if Kim or Hannibal heard me, but I was like, my goal is just that this doesn't end up being C-SPAN. Which it didn't. So I felt good, like, I mean, and those of you that were watching too, in the thumbnail to today's premiere, which just went on the Para channel, I counted them. There's 32 people in that picture. Okay. On the other side of the wall, Hannibal was over there for a long time. There were couches, there was a bar, there was food. You guys didn't get to see that because we took the smaller of the rooms to have the conversation in, and then fed the audio into the other room. In the other, I had the chef who I know, Chris, who was working with us. He told me after the event that we were 65 strong the entire time. After about 12:30, between outside both rooms, we were about 65 strong. We booked that room for 40 to 50 people max. So to me, how is that not a success? We had 15 people too many.
Yeah.
And at GigCon, I don't see how you could say that's not a success either, because new city, short-term planning. But I think that, the first GigCon, great. This one, great. And like Hannibal said, we learned. And then not only that, this time different city. I think having a 2-day event really kind of made it cooler. Especially because GigCon was like in the middle of the afternoon. The one after the next day was kind of right at lunch. So it was perfect. You could have gone out. You didn't have to get up too early. And that's kind of, another portion of this is fitting in fun too. It really is. And when you go to conferences, exactly like Hannibal said, when you go to, I've been to a ton, I've done trade shows. You get through your day, but you don't go back to your room and go to bed. You're up till like 4 a.m. with these guys. And a lot of times you're talking business, you're drinking, you're talking business and drinking. And sometimes you shouldn't be talking business because you've been drinking too much, but it still happens. Like you're just, it's just, you're in the moment. And I've always known these to be beneficial, but hopefully some other people will want to get on board, stop being haters. If not, other people are going to want to get on board anyway. I already know we've been seeing people wanting to, I'll go next year. Okay, well, let's keep building on that, because
hey, Steve, can I hop in this real quick? As a creator who didn't go, I wish I would have gone. You know what I mean? Like, and just seeing it from a viewer's perspective, I'm like, man, it looks like it took a lot of effort, time, to put together. So people that hate watch are the most loyal viewers, because no matter what you put out, they're always gonna hate, and it's just the way they're wired, and it's sad, but that's the reality that we live in. So I think, like Hannah was saying, I think Pedro you guys did a great job, So I mean, last year I said I was gonna go this year, but this year I'm gonna say I'm gonna go next year, But I'm hoping for the East Coast.
I'm working on it, Nova. I'm trying to convince Pedro to get in Atlantic City.
I think it's safe to say that it will be. I don't want to say East Coast and put Pedro on the hook, but I think that it'll be an Eastern time zone. I think I feel safe saying that.
Yeah,
okay.
I was literally trying to convince him of Atlantic City the whole time. I'm like, Atlantic City, let's go.
Oh, Atlantic City will be. I'd be there for sure, 100%.
There's a lot of some. I already have some really good ideas of what we can do wherever we go to do it. Yeah. But yeah, I think East Coast probably I mean, there was some Texas thrown in there too, some Houston votes, but I think East Coast probably.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I got to be honest, and I'm not dissing on it at all. I got a lot of friends in Texas, but I think Texas will throw off a few people. Just being honest.
It's too hot for me. I like the winter, but
it's just a different environment too for this. I mean, who knows if maybe something happens in Texas, but Texas is like going to be one of the reddest, safest states for gig apps through any changes.
No, so they're pretty much good.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, we had such a good response. I mean, again, and then we're going to move off this because this is all and I need to start. We're moving on now. We're moving on, but we had a senator, we had a House member, we had 15 plus states represented by gig workers. I counted them up. I put them all in the show notes. I think that I counted 16 gig creators, at least that I tagged in the para video. And we had companies, we had moves from Canada. We had, Curry was here. I mean, I don't know. Both days, Solo was at the gig con, Moves was at both, Moves dinner. The networking, the meeting each other just makes the community stronger. So anybody out there that thinks otherwise, come to next gig con and please, if you still feel the same, like I'm with Hannibal, I love constructive criticism, but if you really want me to read the criticism, make it constructive. Because if it starts off with, hey, that sucked. Okay, I'm not gonna respond to you because that's just stupid, dude. I mean, like, don't be that dumb. Don't be that dumb. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put it out there. Don't be that stupid. I know all the people, even some that made those comments, and to be honest, that I don't like to say, there's not dumb comments, but there is. That was dumb. There's some dumb comments out there. At least do some research. Say something that means something. I don't know. And again, the constructive criticism always is welcome because all we want to do is make it better for everybody. So
definitely.
Now we'll jump in, guys, and thank you for bearing with the rant. I just wanted to put it to rest because I know Pedro did his rant, and it's a sucky feeling. I know we were all burnt out leaving. I know that, that's another thing too. We all got back and we were just like, oh. But now I'm back to energy and I'm back to focus. So I'm stepping away from it. But we're also very shortly going to be planning the third one. So I mean, this isn't going anywhere. So learn to deal with it, or do your own event, and we'll promote it. We'll help you.
I'll go if someone else does.
We'll go if you make a real event. Do something.
There's people that talk, there's people that do.
Right.
People that talk will show themselves.
Yeah, it don't have to be one. It could be different types of events, different parts of the country. Like I don't mind traveling if it's a good event, like event worth going to. I'll check it out.
They got to pay twice what Kim paid Hannibal for this one, though.
Well, yeah, you got to double up. Yeah, I got to start collecting. Hey, Marco, you got to pay some. I see you doing good, so you got to pay extra.
I told him since we've lived so close to each other that he owes me dinner.
I see Gary in here, and I see that Red from Gig Wars and Cray. They're all saying Gary Zaps. Hopefully you guys were in here in the beginning. There was a new Gary Zaps intro by old TNC radio host Bill Waldrop, Chopper Bill. Came out really good, and tonight was the premiere of that. So, but yeah, I'm losing my voice a little bit, you guys. But you'll still have to deal with scratchy whiskey voice, Steve. I'm sure the trolls will have something to say about that. So. There you go, cracky whiskey voice. Use that.
Is that a new term?
I don't know. I'm just giving them crap. No, I mean, again, I'm past it. And I think maybe that helps them to know too, because if a constructive criticism, I'll reply to. Trolling, I won't. So the only people that get hurt by trolling are those that allow themselves to. When I came to YouTube, I'd been doing the audio podcast. I wasn't used to it. I was used to very nice emails, or even people disagreeing, but writing me emails after the podcast and long questions and saying, I see it this way, not that way. So I was learning all the time. That's constructive criticism. But when I came to YouTube, I was shocked just how many people just want to destroy other people's stuff. And this on specifically, these two events are very important for just feeling better about the community, meeting these people, like Hannibal was saying, like Kim was saying. But also, there was a lot of knowledge and networking to do, and knowledge to be taken in, and fights that you're going to see in your own state. We had the first one in person that I know of, like since post-pandemic, where gig workers. I know we've seen gig worker app strikes, very minimal people standing outside of an airport or something. I don't count that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bringing some politicians into a place, getting gig workers, content creators, people who have a voice that gets to a bunch of people, and letting them. I mean, even Luis, great guy, and he hits a whole nother community. So we were all getting it out. So again, we're moving on. I just wanted to let you guys know it was all a success. Anything you see out there, you could either ignore it or you could feel free to smush a troll. I don't know. But okay, though. So some weird articles here today. Let's start off with some just quick rideshare ones. So the article's back out again, but this time it's in The Economist about, can Uber and Lyft ever really make real money? And it kind of, when it says real money, it's kind of referring to, had Uber not offloaded autonomous, which was for the third time, by the way, that they would not have made a profit this quarter. Yet Uber is still allowing autonomous rides through Waymo, who they've been in several lawsuits with. You can get Waymos through Uber app, and Uber has tried several times to be an autonomous. And when they finally dumped it off, that's what allowed them to make this profit this term. So it's kind of saying, can they make real money on the products they do? Or is this going to get so to a point where to make money, they have to sell things off, allow advertising, this, that, the other. And I mean, I think that there's a path to profitability without selling all the furniture. I don't even know what furniture they have. They don't even have FF&E or property or anything. They have servers located somewhere in a desert. That's all we know. It's so I guess my point is, we won't dive into that too far, but that's a story that makes, every time there's earnings quarters, that this story pops up. This one was a little different. So again, it'll be in the notes. I'm going to put all the articles in the notes tonight. So, but the one this is something interesting, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the news yesterday, or 2 days ago, there were a couple cities, local news was running this. And then yesterday there were a couple cities. Today was Pittsburgh and another city, saying that the Uber driver or passenger record feature is now in effect. But as far as I know, that was in effect in 5 or 10 test markets. Last year, they never pulled the trigger. And now here it is being relaunched softly into all the markets. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with anything that's safety, but I kind of knew this was going to happen. And this is the Wisconsin Law Journal. And what they're saying is that, yeah, this is great. Anything, kind of same thing I'm saying, anything to protect drivers is great. However, Uber has now crossed privacy laws.
Yeah, that's the first thing I when I read it, I'm reading right now, I'm like, is this legal?
Yeah. I mean, so all this time, seen them try to launch it for about 1.5 years, and now here it is. And now they're going, yeah, it's going to be okay. Well, it depends on the state. We have states that you don't need two-party consent. Like if you're on a phone call and you record it,
Yep.
Right.
you need to do that. You need to not only be in a two-party consent state, you need to be talking to somebody in one to record it. So if John lives in a two-party record,
hey, would it be an option to say, if I want to be a rideshare driver for Uber, would it be I have to be okay with being recorded by my passenger? Because it seems like it's
will their TOS box be able to say, hey, this overrides state law? No. That's why these states are going to start going after them.
They can do things like saying by sitting in this vehicle, you implicitly provide your consent.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably stuff like that.
I bet you
Right,
doesn't
but I
even
think
say
this is more
updated
aggressive stuff than we've seen. What were you saying, Marco?
No, I bet you like the riders and the drivers just got a notification. If you want to keep using the app, you gotta agree. And no one ever reads those things, so they probably just agree to it and they don't even know.
Right, but this isn't we're not like we're not like Spain where Uber like launched 3 times illegally. Like even though we don't have the space defined, there's some stuff that they can't go out and break privacy laws of the state. I mean, the state actually they can. The state will love it because they'll be able to sue them all day long and they'll bud soda. They'll stack those lawsuits up to the roof, man.
I mean, maybe Uber is asking, they're going to do it now and then ask for forgiveness later. I mean, I don't know.
Kind of. That's what Uber's. Well, their pass with Travis. That it seemed like just go in, do something wrong, but at the same time, like you're already entrenched in the market. So then you're like, I'm sorry, but we're already here. So,
So I think the only from what I've known in the past, the only way that this can be got around is if so let's say that you don't live in a 2-party consent state. The only way I think you can get around this is like, let's say that the passenger decided, wait, I want to record this ride. And you hit that button in the app, is if it goes to the driver and says the passenger has requested to be recorded on this ride. Do you consent? At this point, you've just put that now the passenger's in more danger if the person is psycho.
Actually, I think
they're going to say yes, because then it puts the driver in a spot of why you don't want to be recorded. I think.
I'm saying if the passenger asked,
right. But I think in there's certain states, in the non-2-party consent states, like the only one person has to know that it's being recorded. So if the passenger knows, that's all that needs to happen.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It depends on what they're doing. I guess it depends on what they're doing with the data. If that data is being locked away and only accessible if there's like a lawsuit, that's one thing.
They say it's encrypted. I mean, that's what at least that's what they're saying. It's encrypted, so there should not be a way. But yeah, this information can be used, especially if you're talking about some important business deal or something, like, or you're a politician, you get in the car, you're saying something about a bill, the Uber driver recording some sensitive information. Record. So like, Eric, for me, I will probably just won't speak at all now. If I get in the Uber, I just won't speak. I don't, like I'm important enough anyway. Yeah, just in case talk about something, some gambling, like I'm gonna bet on this, that kind of thing. And I don't know. It's just there's some ethical implications.
Well, that's when you just talk about bad bets, and then the Uber driver, like, well, that guy, he's not driving no more, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for this feature. Here's here's my thing though. What they probably could do is say I would have to check with a lawyer on this one, but I can ask Bryant over at Legal Rideshare this one, because what they could do is say all rides are now recorded all the time, and that could be in the TOS. To use Uber, you're being recorded at all times for safety features only. We do not sell this data. Blah 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 blah. But I think that would be legal.
I would be okay with that personally. I don't know for you guys, but all right, cool. As soon as you get into this vehicle, everything is recorded. Everything, all right, cool. Like, at least we all know there isn't like a back and forth on who decided to turn on or not. So I would be okay with just hey, you get into this vehicle, we all being recorded. It's good to go. Just makes everything easier, in my opinion.
I would too, as long as it's encrypted, as long as it's kept, unless there's a lawsuit, because I would hate to, like, what if somebody misworded something and they took it as like a threat to somebody, and they were just talking to their friend in the back, and they're like, that's not the context this was in.
Right.
And they're like, well, here we have you saying that you would do this. And let's, just say they were drinking and angry at a politician and said something.
Yeah,
they could take that as a threat and say, wait,
you're getting drunk, you're going to say something stupid. Well, at least I
so hopefully it's just like these things are just locked away, and the only time they're accessed is if like a lawyer needs it. I guess that's my thing. I'm all for safety. I don't know why 2 years ago when they came up with this, they didn't just launch it. Probably because they knew that there'd be these lawsuits. So then they soft launched it, ended it. Now they're bringing it back everywhere. And I guess they're just willing to go, well, forget the lawsuits, man. I don't care. So that's what's kind of going on with Uber, you guys over there. And then Lyft today. And I got to tell you guys this because I don't know if you remember Rudy, Free Cab, when Gary and I talked with him last year. He was just about to get started up. He's in Philadelphia. And he had this idea about like letting you watch ads and either like for half of the trip and you could cut your rate in half for an airport ride, or for short rides if you just were watching it through the app. And if there was interaction, you could get other coupons and things. So it was like coming up with a way for free rides. But if you were like, oh, I don't want to have to watch these this whole trip, you could turn it off on your phone and pay the difference or pay the fare. So there also was a fare behind it. Uber announced 3 months ago, and we talked about it, that they were going to start doing advertising in-app for the first time. This was at a time when that video that I recorded live with Ruby, okay, so that had like, let's say 200 views, maybe 250. And it was recorded like 7 months before middle of May. And in middle of May, in a 48-hour period, it had 6,300 views. 2 weeks later, Uber announced it. I sent all this to Rudy. I was like, man,
Wow.
I can't prove this stuff, but man, you know, like this didn't look like no other video of mine got hit like that. It looked like it had been distributed.
Yeah, like they grabbed it and
list,
it's like, check this out.
Yeah.
So check this. Check this. What are they talking about over here?
So got a promotion. They're like, hey, watch this, boss.
But now there's an article. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm telling you, all these companies watch us. We don't think that they do. I think that they
Well, I think
They
there's
all
somebody
watch
that does.
They definitely do, for sure.
You know,
100%.
you know, maybe not Tony Shu, but there's somebody that monitors social media that they know what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting feedback from their third, you know, from the phone support people in Thailand.
No,
This is like a great outlet for them. They can come in here and hear some truths, some opinions, some
you imagine
venting,
that?
and what level of venting is it going on at?
Or DoorDash. Be like, hey, today I want to see what Steve said last night, and then I'm going to check out Hannibal's channel and check out Kim's channel and John's channel. And that's their entire job is to watch us. I mean, that's
Probably is somebody. Honestly, these big companies, there's social media. Put a bunch of mumbo jumbo behind it and give them a bunch of money.
yeah, as long as they hit the like button, you know, it's all good.
Yeah. But how many times, though, if you really think about it, one of us making this up has like some crazy idea, and like we think it's crazy at the time, and we're just like, kind of joking about it, and like 2 or 3 months later, like one of these companies rolls out something. I'm like, somebody's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the strangest part. So that was an Uber thing. And I've got the articles. Like I should make a video on that, kind of putting the screenshot together, because you know I'm like, when you're looking at analytics, you can see a video that 7 months ago had 250 views over a week and a half, then maybe like an occasional couple here and there, but it's been kind of, you know, static for about 7 months. Then boom, in 48 hours, 6,200 views, or you know, plus. And it's like, wait a minute. I had to look at other videos. Like, wait, did something weird just happen? It didn't. I just think that one just got distributed. And now Lyft is challenging Uber by introducing in-app ad functionality, and they're claiming to be there first. So Rudy at Free Cab thought it up, as far as I know. Gary and I thought the idea was a little out there. It needed some polishing. Rudy's a good guy. Needed a little polishing. But now, a year later, Uber's going after it. There's articles out, now Lyft's going after it. And it's a little bit different, but not really. What they're looking to do is, I mean, after all these years, Uber nor Lyft has allowed in-app advertising. And now they're going to be selling it. So I don't know if it'll get you free rides, but it will, for whatever it's going to do. Maybe you'll get discounts, or who knows. But all that's going on with these companies, you know, just kind of ripping off people, all this, that, and the other. And
Do you think they're doing this because of the situation they're currently in? I mean, Lyft is what 30% of the market. What, Uber has 70. Uber's trying to stay competitive. Maybe if they were stronger, they may not even been bothering trying to do this. But is it a sign of desperation, or you think this is actually a good idea?
I think anything one of these rideshare companies launch at this point, Lyft or Uber, I think even if the other company completely hates the idea, expect to see that idea implemented on their platform as well within a week.
Yeah.
I think we're at that point. Now it's like, you add that, I'm going to add it too, because I think Uber's just trying to wait it out. Lyft has to make some very aggressive moves to stay. I mean, in fact, when you said 30% of the market, I'm shocked. I know Sergio's very pro Lyft right now too, thinking they can bounce back, and I hope they can, because I think there needs to be a competitor. But I know in most markets, Lyft is just dying. So to say 30% of US rideshare is Lyft, I don't know if I believe that. I mean,
well, I think the other thing, I think from like a Lyft versus Uber perspective, Lyft has to win at something. They can't just break even to beat Uber to get life back. They have to find something that's they're going to be better at Uber than, and then they got to get that to spread. So,
yeah, Gary even commented here. He said that the in-app advertising helps to boost their Uber Eats side of things as well. Yeah, but they're also selling ad space to like.
It's revenue. It makes more sense for them to do it from a revenue perspective, to say we can put your ad in front of millions of customers every day.
Yeah.
Pay us our money now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to go after it even much bigger, and it's going to be things like, I wouldn't even be shocked to see a competitor. Maybe in an Uber ad, you'll see a Lyft ad.
That'll be hilarious.
I mean, it's all. I mean, if Lyft wants to pay them enough.
Would you guys sign up to? I mean, you guys don't take a lot of rideshare because you guys have the cars and stuff. But when you do, to save, I don't know, 10%, would you sign up to watch the ads while you're in the car?
Yeah, put it on mute.
Well, if there was interaction and stuff, and there was a way that they could, because that was what Gary and I were asking Rudy too, was, well, how would the app know that you're watching it? Like, what would stop me from just hitting fine, I'm watching, and just putting it down next to me? And he was saying, well, there'd have to be some kind of facial. And I was like, dude, that'd be a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you're talking about something that even the Uber can't do facial recognition, right? They get it about 60% of the time. Females, people of color, people of different ethnic origins. And it's not just day, night. There's not just that issue. Yeah. They just don't have software that works. I mean, during the pandemic, I've told you guys, I put duct tape over my mouth for the Uber pictures.
Yeah,
I tried to bulge my eyes out.
Nose.
Like, I need help.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
They were like, "You're good to drive." Like, they'd say, "Pull over and take a picture." I'd be like, "Okay." And I mean, there were some funny ones where I just straight up put duct tape over my mouth. You know, help me. And they're like, "You're good."
You need help, you shouldn't be logged into the app.
Yeah, you shouldn't be trying to work if you're getting.
And all that, just so you guys are aware, most people are already aware. When they said facial recognition and you were supposed to be covering with a mask, all that they did was made sure they couldn't see your nostrils or your mouth. If those weren't seen, you were good. So really, it was no facial recognition. It was nothing on you, and it wasn't even able to actually check if it was a mask.
Yeah.
I mean, I used
to use my shirt because I didn't have my mask. Like, I'm getting ready to leave. Yeah. So I'm like, all right. And I put my shirt in and take a picture, and they're like, okay, you're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, there was one lady, I don't remember where she was from, who was a rideshare driver who had a rubber banded Norton's antivirus over her mouth disc CD, like one of the old installation CDs or DVDs. And she was taking her picture with that.
Why?
Because it was covering her mouth. And it said Norton's antivirus. I mean, I had to laugh. That's just funny.
I know you will laugh at that.
There's no way around that. Come on. Yeah, and for those of you that were wondering too, not to get back into the event because it's not, it's just stuff that's happening this week. Minneapolis is now looking to go around the governor's veto of the bill, his first veto ever for the state, but they're looking to go around it for the city of Minneapolis. And I believe Gigan's in here, so he can tell us. I believe it's Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities. But I know it's Minneapolis, where he's just going to go around it and say, or they're going to go around and say, yeah, let's just do this anyway. So that
was the
might be
reason again?
coming.
Like, what was the reason why you
For-
said no?
Man, this guy.
To that, yeah.
So
go ahead.
so this guy has never vetoed anything. He is. I don't know if you're familiar with the politics up in Minnesota. The only reason I would ask, because I know many states, many people aren't, but Minnesota is strange because it has some of the farthest left people that you'd ever. I mean, and so normally anything to the left gets through, and even the governor's very to the left. This is a very to the left bill. It took him 2 weeks of like arguing down to the wire to get the sides to agree on it. And they kind of came to that conclusion, like, okay, we've agreed, here it is. Let's get it into law. And when they submitted it, the governor, they're so used to submitting to the governor and going, okay, all we need is his stamp, done. So we're good. This was his first veto in his political career. And his political career is 23 years. Never had veto. My guess is that he works. He has some big money behind him with either directly with gig companies or at least parent companies or things like that. You know, because even if no matter where you stand, man, if in your top 3 supporters, DoorDash is in there, good luck, man. I mean, they're gonna
that's the answer, yeah.
Yeah, they're just going to tell you you're going to do what we say, or we're going to make sure you don't get reelected, and we'll probably work on getting you out of here quicker, and they'll just make your life nasty. This is why like everybody's like, all politicians are dirty. I think a lot of politicians get into it not wanting to be, and then they see that everybody else is dirty, and it's not like, ooh, I'll make my money too doing that way. I think they just find out that you got to have supporters, and all these supporters have their bad sides. Now there's no politician out there who has just these great supporters behind them only. You've got to mix, and you've got to watch who you get in bed with. You know, and I think that's something we learned here. I think Minnesota's about to learn a lesson. I think this is a bigger article than people know. It came out today. Or wait, did it come out yesterday? It was
yesterday, I think.
Yeah, where Wisconsin, and we were talking about I was talking about this with Long Island Dash Experience, Lou and Mary, not too long ago, because they're one of their kids goes to school up there and does dashing, and I was talking to them when this was starting, and now the Wisconsin lawmakers are pushing to regulate third-party companies that deliver food from restaurants to customers. So DoorDash have connected restaurants and consumers and even helped them survive the pandemic. But then this is a specific thing for Culver's, one of Wisconsin's most storied restaurants. Selling a hamburger can be quite a headache, was their thing. To sell soup in the summer creatively is a necessary ingredient. The soup market in the Bay Area, a restaurant devoted to its customer choices. We've always wanted to have delivery component of our business and just couldn't make it work with our own delivery drivers. But now there's so 90 degree. This is a quote here. From one of the people who's opposing it, one of the restaurant owners. 90-degree day when someone doesn't want to leave their nice, comfortable office. They can order in and never have to leave. So those are sales we wouldn't see otherwise. Across town, Culver's doesn't see it the same way. When they list our information on the website, I can tell you every single time it's incorrect. This is the Culver Franchising System General Counsel. A bill in the Senate aims to correct the situation by regulating food delivery companies. It would require they get the restaurant owner's consent before posting the menu online. And if a restaurant doesn't want to be included, The app must remove them within 3 days. Now we know about restaurants saying, I don't want to be on there anymore. And they're like, well, tough. They're like, well, if you don't want to be on there, we won't give you your cut. We'll still find a way to get you on there. We don't care. We'll go about other systems. We'll still get these orders through. So I'm glad that they're kind of getting to that point. I was telling Kim and Marco before we started, I thought it was really funny, this part. And it's just the one word, guys. So the bill adds that companies must tell restaurants what was ordered and when, so the process is transparent. Now, to me, that's just so hilarious because we talk about transparency. And I know some of these articles have that word in there, but this is the first time they've actually used it correctly. Like, this is actually, the person who wrote this used it correctly, how they're saying it. That, they don't want these orders coming in or orders sitting there, even if DoorDash repays them for the food, some of these mom and pops. It's like, they're like, I don't care. It's not about just the money. We just don't want to be wasting all this food and it to be sitting on a shelf. It's stupid, And so, this is, and then the last requirement of the bill is aimed at identifying who's at fault if issues happen. And the bill has both sides support. It's bipartisan support in Madison, their capital, and it will be voted on. So when you guys are like, no, legislation's coming. Well, it's already in 4 states. It's looking at Kim's state. It's looking at my state. It's looking at Minnesota. It's now already started in court in Wisconsin. Seattle has theirs. California has theirs. Massachusetts is about to have one that they're going to try and revise. So to those that saying that, like, I'm just concerned about base pay, I'm going to say, man, this is the problem, though. And I hate to say it this way, but those who do just say, I hate $2 base pay, it's wrong. Well, what about when it's $1? To me, that's not an issue. Either you can earn on tips or you can't, because at $2 or less, let's face it, that's not why you're doing that ride. You're doing that ride based on the customer service to get a tip. $2, none of us would take any orders if they were $2.
Right.
I don't even think we'd take it to go across the damn street.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't, out of the pure, even if it's just like walk it to that guy. I'd do it just out of like my personal no. Like, no, man, I'm not going to do that this is not it's not a $2 job, man.
Yeah.
You're asking me to do something, I'm not your employee. You don't have to pay taxes on me. I'm not saying treat me right because I'm not an employee, but don't try and pull that crap, So I had somebody asking me, like, well, is this going to be like, will this just bring in like Prop 22? Look, I'm going to be careful what I say here, but Prop 22 has a lot of people that enjoy its perks. However, it was designed for rideshare drivers. No rideshare drivers gets any Prop 22 in California. No, because you're going to make, on an active hour, you're going to make more than 120% of minimum wage in your California area. So like if it's, $16, $17 in the Inland Empires, which like John McKellian, Sergio, all those guys live down there. If it's that, and it's going to be 120%, so let's call it $20 to be nice. If it's going to be $20 on an active hour with rideshare, if you didn't make $20, you should be quitting today. Because that's driving lots of miles, and I'm talking about active. And so they didn't get any of the perks of that. The only people who got it were the delivery people. So I think some people view, like I know Sergio does, Washington State as a win. But Sergio lives in California. He knows. He's like, Prop 22 is a joke. I know people enjoy its perk, but it's mostly just delivery people, like shoppers, Instacart shoppers, rideshare people. They don't really get to bask in that. Maybe Instacart people a little if they're not getting tips, but nonetheless, I don't know. I think people have found some good points about it if you do food delivery in California, but overall Prop 22 was the first, and I don't think it's the bill to be modeling things after, and it seems like other states are not. So they're going about this in a different way, and I like that. I think that I think that being able to multi-app, it's just going to. I think there's lots of problems coming down the road, but also make it so that it helps everybody out. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're just telling everybody to get onto DoorDash only or Grubhub or these things, and then just abuse them. So I'm a little in the dark, or I'm a little mixed on this one. But it has 2 senator backings, and it has the bipartisan support in Madison. So it looks like not only is this going to hit the floor for a vote in the next couple weeks, but it also looks like it's going to pass, like without any problem. So those living in Wisconsin, we've known that might be coming for a while. It is. So let's see, where are we here? So also, I won't get into them, but Illinois became the first state to enact protections for freelance workers. Kansas City cracks down on incorrect classifications of employees. 2 more states. There's Illinois and there's Kansas. They're both doing things right now too. All these articles I'll put into the show notes, you guys, because you should be looking at these. I mean, this is what's coming, and in the show notes might be your state. You should know this stuff. I mean, you should. Some of the stuff's harder to find. When I talk about like New Jersey, they really have like a real mess going, and I actually count on other people to send me good stuff. But what they're trying to do is like just a complete mess. It probably won't go because there's some good people to fight that, but I mean, but get on these when the show's over and look in the show notes. If you see these, if you see your state, for sure read it. And if you don't, you should be reading these anyway. They're not that long. Look at what's going on with these rules. I mean, it's just changing in a way where good luck, guys. I mean,
it's going to be very piecemeal. It's going to be interesting if you're a gig worker and you end up moving states in a span of years and you go, oh, this state had this, and no, this state has this.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting for people.
So, robots, people. They're everywhere.
Great
article.
NVIDIA and what was it with an A that used to, there was a company that did autonomous with Lyft. That was only in Vegas. They did a couple trade shows. They were with them for a couple years. It's like All Pro or something with like a PROW, ALPROW or something like that. But that is a company that is part of NVIDIA. And NVIDIA pulled out of autonomous and said, no, this is there's too many good companies doing this and they're not even close. So what the heck? And then they made those little trash can robots. And now their whole technology's in those. And they are going to go public. So we're going to be seeing, I'm laughing here, but that's another threat to us, you guys. So I guess they think that what they've been seeing in LA is a good response with these. I can't tell you how many. And by the way, guys, if you are on TikTok, they're on YouTube now too. I think it's Film the Robots. Is the handle maybe? I know it is on TikTok, or Film the Robots LA. This dude just goes around. He knows them all by name. He's like, "What's up, Austin?" He'll follow him. He's like, "Oh, your wheels, bro." He knows them inside and out. And he's like, he just films these guys, and they just screw up everything. And so, I don't know, but it looks like, are they coming for all our jobs? Are we done? No, but it looks like something they're going to be using. I mean, college campuses have been using them for a while. The city of LA using it, I thought was going to be okay, these don't work. But now they're going to start dishing these out.
It's going to be on the very small orders, the things that are, as a 10 pounds or less.
In my local college, I see them all the time, but they're confined to like the college, and sometimes you'll see them like wander off, but people always look for them. People things at them, like they'll get in the way. Dogs hate those things too.
Yeah. So I got to tell you guys that there's I do know one thing that they're teaming up with one of the production companies of like festival concerts. like some of the big ones, 50,000 plus, 100,000 plus, where they're going to have like roped off areas, and you'll be able to order something. The delivery robots will go to a corral. You go over to the corral, you find your robot, and you pull your food out. So one thing they're going to be testing it at concerts. Now,
That's
working a lot of
bad
concerts
idea.
in production, I can't wait for it to rain. I can't wait for it to be muddy. I
Doesn't
can't
work.
wait.
Are you talking like those outdoor kind of festivals where it's like
Yeah.
5-6
Yeah.
hours of concerts, people been drinking since 12
Yeah,
in the
and where
afternoon.
you're driving
can
in
go
for
to a
15 miles, bumper to bumper, and then you're parking on grass, like that stuff. The
I
big.
could already
Yeah,
see at the end of
that's
the day,
not-
people
They
steal
order
robots.
food. There's gonna be these full robots just sitting there.
I mean, I feel like people are going to
Yeah.
rip these in half and be wearing them as like concert hats.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
They're gonna be like, we started with 30 robots, we only have 3. The other ones are missing.
Oh, my
Can you
God.
imagine someone going like, dude, let's fill it up with like beer. It could be another cooler for us.
Yeah.
Wait, Hannibal, you have the trash cans too?
I don't see them. I saw someone in the comments said in New York. I don't know
Yeah.
what part, but I haven't. I just actually ordered Uber Eats tonight, and it was a human being that came, no robot.
There was a human that came to your door.
A human being, not a trash can robot. So not yet, at least not in the hood.
Yeah, I see Gigwise's comment too about this. So like, he's saying the grocery stores here are up and down the aisle scanning for empty spots. Yeah, and if you guys didn't see, I know a lot of you love Spark. If you didn't see, Spark's bringing in big time robotics, big time, like ones that are going to do everything. So basically, they'll be doing all the shop. They'll be going down aisles, and just everything will be slid out into the basket, be pushed up.
Yeah,
all
John
orders will be done.
made videos about it.
Yes,
Wait, a week or
John
two
I
ago.
think did a
Scared
couple
everybody.
videos.
Yeah, they got a
Yeah.
Walmart is interesting. They got a interesting future. I'll put it that way. Even out here, I just discovered something the other day. They have autonomous, not the drones, but autonomous vehicle deliveries. It's interesting. There's a guy in the car. It's autonomous. Another Walmart employee loads the car. The guy in the car in the autonomous vehicle brings it to you. He doesn't help you. He just sits there and watches you take out your groceries. But he's just there for the car. He's an engineer. But that's out here now too, apparently, in addition to the drones and everything else.
Just
That's
dreading.
So,
Stares at you.
so
while
they're
you bought your
downtown.
groceries.
Does this mean
Really?
anything to you?
I gotta check that out actually. Yeah, that's pretty
It's
close. That's pretty close.
Can
to
you
me.
take a
Well,
video
about-
and like make
about-
some, like
Well, I saw it the other day and I tried to take a video.
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna check it out. Yeah,
really quickly. It became awkward in about.
yeah. If it's downtown Brooklyn, yeah, I'll check it out. I guess I don't order around there, so but I didn't see me driving around. But I'm gonna check that out actually. Thanks.
So I've never seen, I haven't seen you in here before. Welcome. Is it Tahini Coco? But are you when you do it, have you ordered one? Is it in the app? Like when I was in Vegas, autonomous was a separate thing. RiDESHARE came up and it didn't want you to see autonomous on the bottom because they knew it was crap. But they're like, oh, you heard about that? Yeah, you can use it here, do all these stuff. But I'm wondering like if it's in there to say, hey, I'd like the robot, or if they're offering a discount, or are they trying to promote it? Like, hey, do you want a robot delivery? That's $2 less. That's one of my questions.
Probably do, because that means they don't have to pay a person if they can have a robot do it.
Well, I mean, what did we say in here? No tip robot trip.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm all for that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised these things are rolling around New York City though too, because when I watch them in LA has bad traffic, but it's not as compacted as New York. And I'm just surprised because I mean these things are falling over, being kicked over. I can't. Yeah. I just see that they're all going to be in the water here in about 3 days in New York. I mean, I don't know.
Talking about they're going to be floating in the Hudson.
Well, people like are cracking them open, stealing the food, and then they're taking like I know that like one of the big things now, for autonomous cars in San Francisco, that little thing that we found out about the cone, people are now going out with cones. I don't know if you've seen this.
I'm putting it on top of the car.
People are just but they're like going out to drink with like 5 cones on them, and then they just put them on autonomous as they see them, so they can't go anywhere.
I could see those robots having like like, oh, we're gonna tase you if you touch us or something like that. You know, like a little warning or I don't know, something. Because I'm sure they're not cheap, so
Yeah.
you gotta have some kind of defense.
No. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they're going to be going public. I guess the other part I found kind of funny was that this all wouldn't. I always wondered what Postmates did for Uber. So the Serve Robotics, these robots, are the love child of Postmates and Uber. Somehow by acquiring Postmates is how this made this all possible. So I always wondered, like, because like in some places you can still even order through Postmates. It's weird to me. Like I know some very weird spots where people are like, I only
mostly in the West
Postmates.
Coast, I believe, though.
What are you talking about? Like Postmates been dead for 3 years, bro.
Yeah.
Or more. I don't even. Yeah, about 3 years. But yeah. Before moving on, I do want to talk about the DoorDash story that Kim, that John sent to us and that Kim talked about yesterday. I know, and because I'm not shocked, but I think it's worth hearing. But I also wanted to know, Marco, did things get fixed for you on DoorDash?
Oh no, it did not.
It did for Bud Soda, and kind of same thing happened to him. That I knew you got. He told me it was the same
guy that helped him. That's what he said. So I said, I mean, Trey is not a very uncommon name, so it could be the same person. I don't know.
Those could all just be handles too.
Were there any updates?
Yeah. He could have just made that up for all I know.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he basically he sent me an email, and at first I was like, this could be a scam. It could, it's weird saying like, oh, we saw your video on social media, or I forgot what name his team is, some advanced escalation, some fictional
escalation team.
Yeah, and then he sent me another email, and then I'm like, all right, let's play ball and see if it is this guy or whatever. Sent him an email a couple of days later. He was like, it's really nothing. The email was very generic. A lot of like copy and paste using ChatGPT probably to basically put me down in a nice way. He didn't really say much. He just said, hey, if you log in, it'll tell you why you were deactivated. It stands as of now. You can resubmit your appeal in 90 days. And that's basically what he said.
What was the purpose of him reaching out to you if he wasn't going to help you?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's weird because if you guys aren't familiar, that's the exact same thing that happened to Ellen's dad, delivering with Ellen. She's in Nevada. She's in Henderson, Nevada. He's in California. But same thing. He got a thing saying he was deactivated, and he hadn't done anything wrong to his knowledge. This is a guy who's just doing it a couple days a week. Couple extra bucks. He's kind of retired, just enjoying life and kind of having fun with it. He got deactivated, and he called and got through to somebody who told him he had a 90-day hold on his account that he can get back on the platform if he calls in 90 days.
I mean, more or less, that's what the email said.
Wow.
I was like, what is that?
Market now, they have like huge waiting lists. Like you can't just. It's not like it was before. You can just sign up and you're dashing today. Now it's like the wait list is insane. Apparently, at least in my market. So I don't know.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be
right.
prone to the wait list.
Right.
I mean, if they're like, wait, send them the email because we screwed up. You shouldn't be at the back of the wait list.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the screw ups I thought happened were like when the one person even told you, you've done a lot of these. Like, I thought I was supposed to. Like, isn't that the point? Like, I felt like you even thought maybe you were deactivated because of doing too many. It's like
right.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Like, why would you even say that to you? The only thing I can come up is some kind of language barrier, because why would they even say that? Why would they even say you've done a lot? Okay, well, that shouldn't be a reason I was deactivated. Period. I didn't know that good work, hard work, and follow through were going to get me deactivated.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I did the update more for like the subscribers that keep asking me about it. Because for me, like, I'm already like past DoorDash. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many other apps, so many other things I can be doing. But it is annoying because I wish they would just tell me, hey, you know what? It was a lady that said you took her vibrator, even though I didn't. You know, if they told me that, I'd be like, you know what? Whatever, let's put it to bed. It is what it is, you know. And people always tell me, oh, but you can sign up with your wife's account. I don't want to do that stuff. I shouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Like I should be able to use my own. Like I know that I could, but I'm not going to. You know, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's the principle.
Yeah,
I fully agree, man.
sure.
I mean, and I mean, was that part of changing it? Was your handle always Nova?
Definitely don't make a video about it.
Or was it Nova? Was it Nova Dasher, right?
Right. I mean, I think eventually I was like, well, I think this is more fitting, anyways.
It did.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it is.
Probably
I
from
thought
them.
maybe the timing was around this, but maybe also hadn't noticed. But regardless, I think it's better that you do that because, other than
Yeah.
Pedro, why would you want DoorDash in your name?
Right. Yeah. No, I think it was time when I realized that it wasn't getting fixed like I thought it was going to get fixed, And I still log in time to time just to see like what it says, But let me just try to log in real quick, see what it says, just out of curiosity. But let's see.
One day you're gonna do it.
I mean-
it's gonna be like, what would you like to
No,
start?
that's the thing. It says why your account was deactivated. We reviewed the suspicious or unusual activity and found that it violated our platform access policy. And then please review,
All
our
just
contact.
algorithm nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah. That doesn't
Hey,
even sound like
sounds
good
familiar.
Popped up
algorithm
and they
answer,
can't
though.
explain it, and then well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're already screwing us over. At least lie better. I don't know what else to say, man. It's so I had there were a couple other stories here. One thing I just want to quickly hit on, because I know we spent some time just kind of putting closure to the weekend event because it was amazing. But Instacart has become the first grocery marketplace now to accept SNAP in every state, all 50, Alaska and Hawaii too. So that's going to give them some lifeblood, I think. I don't really know. I'm not sure about how all the funding part will work, but that and their technology with the caper cart and stuff, maybe that's kind of their new direction. I don't know. Because $4 going from $8 minimum orders to $4 Instacart badge orders, that is not going to work. Even the people who were clinging on at $8, they're going to be gone for $4. Because we all know an Instacart order takes an hour and a half. Most. Some might not, but for the most part, you're endeavoring into an hour to go to Instacart. So it better be worth your time. And I see Kigwai saying, what is Snap? So Snap is it's benefits for, is it just low income or I know it's low income, but it might be other
it's
things
low
too,
income.
like-
It's basically benefits for low income people.
but maybe handicap as well too. I don't know if it gets into those spaces as well, but it's basically it's assistance, food assistance,
Food stamps. It's food stamps. Yeah.
But yeah, so in all 50 states, and that's kind of a big deal. So I guess the story we'll close out with is the DoorDash one, because
It's a crazy one.
yeah, I want to hear everybody's take on this because I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised.
So there was a woman, forgive me, I can't remember what state off the top of my head. She was 18 years old. Did DoorDash, I believe, from McDonald's one night. Got it delivered, no problems. A couple weeks later, the DoorDash driver came back, broke into her residence, and did not good things to her. They almost killed her, and it was basically assault. So this woman, it was back in 2022. She is okay today. So she did get out and she did get rescued. So that's the good news. She is filing a civil lawsuit against DoorDash, stating that because they didn't do proper background checks and vet their drivers, that they should be held liable for a portion of it, of her assault. And DoorDash basically wiped their hands clean and said, nope, not us.
Yeah.
Is it just from where I'm
Wow.
pulling this from, or is it New Delhi?
What?
I think that's where you're pulling it from.
I think that's where you're pulling it from. I can
Because
pull
Chloe,
up the
it sounds
article.
like Chloe though. This woman. I mean, here at the top, even it's saying that the delivery agent entered Chloe's residence and allegedly attempted to carry out severe harm to her. A struggle, and a struggle ensured, resulting in Chloe's suffering physical injuries, broken nose, finger bites, and marks made on her neck from attempted strangulation.
It happened back in February 12th of 2020. Basically, the incident raises questions about the responsibility of companies like DoorDash in ensuring the safety of their customers and the effectiveness of background check systems. And it just mine said that the delivery person broke into her house, resulting in injuries to the victim. Basically,
Is DoorDash saying it's not our fault?
Yeah, DoorDash rejects
saying
responsibility in the alleged. I can't say this on YouTube. I'll just say the alleged assault, so we don't get Steve into any trouble.
It did happen. It kind of in Georgia. It looks like.
Did we cut out?
No, I thought I heard.
I'm like, did we cut out for a second?
Hannibal cut out. I think Hannibal froze.
Okay.
Yeah, my internet is terrible. I real quick before I cut out again. Is DoorDash saying it's not our fault? It's Checker's fault.
Basically. But so the thing that I'm interested in finding out is that in this article it mentions that there's different levels of background check that Checker does. Like, do you have a driver's license is level 1, and then there's like higher levels where do you have a felony. And so one of the things that's going to be coming out is what level of background check did DoorDash do? Does DoorDash say, hey, you have a driver's license, background check passed? Because this person here already had a felony, they were out on parole. Like this person was a legitimate felon out on parole driving DoorDash for I think it might have been a similar crime too. So and DoorDash saying nope.
It says here, according to the law firm Morgan and Morgan, and it quotes, because a violent felon shouldn't have access to someone's personal home address. So I don't know whether that implies that he already was a felon. I'm really not sure about that. Or was he a felon because of this incident?
Before this, he was on parole. And that was why it became a bigger issue. That's why they would have DoorDash be responsible, because prior to working for DoorDash, he was already a felon on parole.
Right, but Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a period of time that DoorDash was just onboarding Dashers?
Yeah, when there was no background. So I asked a couple people this. My friend Mac and Nova. Mac said no check was done in his beginning. He's been on it for a while. I believe Nova said in the very beginning. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nova, but you said that you did have one done in the very initial, but then no others until.
I had 3 done. So when I first signed up, I remember like it was yesterday. I signed up, and then when I was walking around the house, the email came back. Like it was like a 1-minute background check. Like it was already boom, you're good to go, like super quick. And then I got one a year later, just a random email saying we've initiated another background check. And then like 2 years went by, and then I got one like a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago. And other than that, it was like weird gaps in between.
I've never gotten one since the day I signed up. I've never gotten any of those random, checks. I do like Uber. I get them. I feel like it's like once a year type of thing. But for DoorDash, I feel like not one has been done on me since I started.
Yeah.
I don't know. The way I broke this down, yes, the burden falls on the person who did the assault. They're the one who committed the crime. But I still think there is some liability on DoorDash's end if they did not do a proper background check on this person, and he is a convicted felon, I believe.
So here's what just real quick, I was going to say, it says in 2016, according to court records reviewed by Insider, this person's last name is Young. Young pleaded guilty to charges of aggravated assault, hit and run, and driving without a proper license after he ran over a woman with a car following a verbal dispute.
Oh my God.
So how was he able to be a DoorDash driver?
No, so
How is
two
it-
things. One, not only did he have a violent felony, it was with a car, and he was allowed to drive.
Yeah.
Sounds like a case to me.
I honestly
think-
think
Sure,
Kim's
sure,
onto
sure.
something though. I
Surprised
know
that
that Mac
happened.
was not checked, and I know that's part of the problem right now too. Like Mac is okay. My buddy Mac in Portland, he has more kids than the Drivens, by the way, guys. So if you guys didn't think that was
Hats off.
possible, Mac and his wife have 10 kids,
Oh God. God bless
and
them.
he's 2 years younger than Tony. I
They
mean,
don't leave
wow.
the bedroom, huh?
But anyway, so he's from Boise, Idaho, or they were in the Boise, Idaho market. They moved to Portland, and he had never had a background check run from DoorDash. He was one of those people that get caught up in, oh wait, we're going to run them now. And when they ran it, they said, hey, why don't we have the information from from these 3 years? And he was thinking, dude, I was in Boise and I had a Boise license and I didn't even work these platforms. What are you talking about? When I submitted, I had moved to Portland. I gave you guys send me because they were claiming that, look, we've got a gap in your, not like you did anything wrong. We've got a gap in your timeline. We don't know what you did these 3 years. And his thing was, you don't need to know what I did those 3 years because I wasn't working with you. He goes, if you're running a background check, if any did anything wrong, broke a law, you'll see it there. He goes, but you don't need to know what my address was and whatnot when I was not doing anything with you. But I guess the problem is that all of the other apps, and this was what leads me to believe Kim's correct, because all of the other apps, every other one does a background check when they onboard you. And then they do multiple ones. For a while, it was like with Uber and in the rideshare, I got to say for years, you might see none, and then you might see within 3 months you need to do 2. So it was there wasn't rhyme and reason, but all of the other apps did background checks, all of them. And I don't know if DoorDash did. I believe that during the pandemic, when they were trying to get the market share, and they just kind of let everybody on. But now they're claiming there's a hole in Max's in my buddy's timeline because, well, you didn't live anywhere. You weren't on the radar here. And he's like, well, I was, but I shouldn't have to prove that. I wasn't doing anything with you. And got into this big fight with him. This is a fight, by the way, I've heard from a lot of people. If you've moved, it doesn't even have to be this exact situation. Maybe you even worked for DoorDash at the past place. Maybe you still have an ID from the past place. You haven't changed it to the new state. Any discrepancy right now, this is what makes me think they never did do the background checks, because any discrepancy right now that any other app would just cross right over because it said, no, we already ran a background check on them 6 months ago. All we're doing is let's just run it again. Just that basic background check. And by the way, for those of you that missed it on the town hall, David finally let you know how much a background check from Checker is. It's $13 to $21. So if you're wondering what you get for $13, probably not much. But so these background checks are I think what they did is finally when they went into the DoorDash database, they said, okay, let's run all these. And that's why they got bogged down for so long too. It was like, okay, well, this guy wasn't alive 3 years ago, but he's 40. But now he lives here. Let's deactivate him. This guy has a license from that state, but he never says he lives here. Let's deactivate him, even though we've mailed him taxes to his new address. We mailed you your taxes at the end of the year there, but you don't live there and we don't have record of it. Really? Then where'd you get my address? How did I get my taxes? If you're going to claim you don't live there right now, you haven't clarified that. Really? Then how do I have a license? It says Max said his address on it or whatever they needed. Mac had it. He's like, dude, you guys are idiots. It's right here. and
Crazy.
he sent it all in, and eventually he got back on. But it was like the Bud Soda and Marco thing. I believe it took months for him. Because it was right around the same time as Marco got deactivated. I know we did a piece together, all of us. Marco was there too. And to be honest, like, he's back on now too, but that was just recent. Bud Soda's just recent. So some of these deactivations are different with DoorDash than the other ones. And I have to believe that even if they were doing background checks, I've heard it from enough people that they were surprised if they were doing DoorDash first and then started multi-apping. They're like, hey, why do I need to do this checker background check? I would get emails like that from the audio podcast. And I'm like, we need to do it for all of them. You did it for DoorDash too. And I think at the time they were thinking, no, I didn't. Now I'm going back thinking, oh, did none of you people that started with DoorDash, maybe you didn't have one. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Marco did. I know other people who didn't. So,
I'm
yeah.
trying to log in and see if I can see the one that's so old, but I guess because it's so old, it doesn't reflect. But I think they only checked like if you were like a sex offender and like if you have a license. You know, I don't think it was like an in-depth thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they did like the bare minimum. But I can't remember. I'm trying to log in, but I think it's such a long time ago it doesn't work.
So in this guy's case, you ran over somebody that's not in our list, so you're good.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Absolutely.
Well,
crazy.
but Holly, see, this is part of the problem. Holly's saying if you're a girl and you've had to check every last name you've ever had, you shouldn't have to. Checker should be doing this. Like, this should be taken out of your hands because they don't necessarily have to get into court documents to see what your old name was, but that kind of stuff should be verified through a security company that's doing background checks. Like, they should be able to say, oh, she's had 3 last names. And again, it's just, we all know Checker does an awful job. I think not too long ago when all these guys were getting deactivated and all this craziness was going on, they were catching a lot of slack from a lot of states about not being proper with all this stuff. I think of it like it was a big, huge batch of catch up. Like, we got to play catch up. Let's do background checks on them. I know Tony Shu says 13 million. Let's call it 10, and probably not all those are active. But I mean, he had to go do 10 million background checks. That, I don't know if you guys remember, but it bogged Checker down. Like Xander, y'all in LA, RiDESHARE, he was doing Curry and other things, but he couldn't do RiDESHARE for like 2 months. It's a long, or like 6 weeks. It was like the longest he had ever gone because the Checker background system, that's when it was all backed up. It was like, if you normally waited a day or two, and I believe now it's back to kind of caught up, but I believe they got bogged down and just screwed up even more than they do normally. And yeah, it just goes to my point that I honestly believe we should be able to check our own backgrounds. At the town hall, Ron had a great point. Ron Entree Courier, he said, listen, I'm an LLC, I'm an independent contractor. Before all this, why can't my background check be that I'm an LLC? That's a great point, because he has a business and it's very cheap to be an LLC too. Don't think this is some like road where you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I mean, you can become an LLC here in Colorado for, I believe it's like $98. So, I mean, you get an EIN number then. And the point is they can really watch all of your background through that EIN number. So he makes a good point. If you have an EIN number, you should just be able to give that to them almost as like a pass. Like, shut up here.
I guess my whole entire point is I feel like DoorDash settles so many lawsuits. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of left and right. You couldn't help this poor girl out who's been through this probably most traumatic thing that she's probably will ever go through in her lifetime. I don't know. Takes like
in the long run, I think DoorDash
some level of responsibility, just a little.
But if they do, we all know why they can. If they say that publicly, then everybody else who got assaulted and stuff's gonna be coming back going, wait, I didn't know you were like paying out claims.
Well, they can't. It's not so much as I think they don't want to say that up front. In the end, they want to, make them do that, but they don't want to give it for free, basically. Because at the end, when this goes to trial, they're going to find out what background checker ran. And if the DoorDash allowed a felon to do all that stuff that had a violent felon, not a felon, but specifically a violent felon, they're going to have to take some accountability.
Well,
Maybe they'll sell out of court. Maybe they'll find
Christopher's point is good here.
It's going to be a big amount of money. So, I mean, if I don't know if she wins per se, but she'll be compensated something if they settle out of court.
Yeah, I mean, 13 days. See, I never remember 13 days when I mean, even after onboarded, and I was doing Uber and Lyft from 2015, maybe 13 hours.
Maybe
No
3
joke.
days.
Mine took 3 days.
Yeah.
I think mine was like 2 or 3.
I mean, it depends on when you did. I mean, if you do it around a holiday, I mean, I do believe Checker gets bogged down. I don't believe they've ever been bogged down like they were in, would it be like April and May this year? Does that sound about right for you too, Nova?
Yeah, like early June.
Yeah, so it's like somewhere in that zone is when I believe a lot of states and just DoorDash in general was called out. Like, listen, I see Derek asking where to go about, Curry uses Checker. They all use Checker because Checker is the one. It's the one that the gig apps use.
I know Curry definitely does because I just did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I got to be honest, guys. It's because it's the cheapest. So, but the difference there would be like if Curry said, "Hey, your Checker background came back bad," you actually can call and talk to Curry. Whoa! I think I got the wrong persons. Or like if you have a legitimate, no, that shouldn't be an issue. You can call them; they'll fix that. The Giants won't fix it for you. Not a chance.
Yeah, I think Amazon's a different one because I used it at Amazon one and it wasn't Checker. I forgot who they used or they have their own company. But it wasn't, and it took a long time. It wasn't like 2 or 3 days. It's like a week, 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah. So DDIS, even he says here that Hop Skip Drive. Yeah, Hop Skip Drive also is W-2, I believe. I'm not sure. I know that they had some freelance stuff, but most of these that we've seen pop up don't. But same thing with we're having them on here. I think in 2 weeks. What is it? Black Wolf app. They're not W-2, but they carry guns and drive Escalades and stuff, and they get real background checks as well.
I mean, they carry guns. They should definitely have real background checks.
Yeah.
And they're probably a little bit more extensive just based off of their nature of their business.
Yeah, I guess I just want, I just got to wonder what a $13 background check does.
I mean, probably use like addresses, high school yearbooks. I don't know.
I mean, $13. I wouldn't give you a half hour of my time to research something on Google. What are you getting for $13? And they got to keep the platform going, and they got to make money. And Checker does make money. Let's be honest. I mean, they check all of the apps and several times.
That's a good hustle. That's a good racket they got going on there.
I think what would be best is if you could have, when you get like your 6-month insurance card, right? I don't know if it's for everybody, but here in Colorado, it's my premiums every 6 months. Every 6 months, I'll get a new card.
Mine too.
Okay. So that's pretty common. Why not? And it would also alert your insurance. You wouldn't have to go this route, but what if you could? Because it would also alert your insurance to what you're doing to help them best price you into. Because now there's good insurance for gig workers that doesn't cost as much as the traditional. I need everything I see covered. It's more like hybrid, like space should be. But what if like your insurance company could charge you $50 twice a year to when they send that card out, run the background for you, give you 2 cards, Checker, verified, or whatever, and both of them have the same end date. And during that time, any of these companies that say, "Hey, we need to run a Checker," no, you don't. Here, you submit it like your insurance. No, I'm valid till December of this year for my background. I mean, because if I go on board to DoorDash, Grubhub, Lyft, Uber, the next 4 days, 1 app per, I'm going to have 4 background checks run. Why? The more I don't know if you guys know. I mean,
Checker
I don't know
connects.
what it exactly does to you, and I know that even having a credit check these days isn't the same. They used to call it a ding, but it's not the same ding on your credit. Like if you used to need a background check, it actually hurt your credit the more you had to have, and they've kind of moved past that. But I'm kind of wondering, isn't that probably somewhat the same on if you're having 15 background checks done a year and you've never had none up until 3 years ago?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there's a better solution, something. And I would much rather pay $100 in the year, two $50 premiums, 2 times a year to pay for my own card that I just submit. That way I know too, there's no issue. It came back from my insurance and it says, no, you're good. Okay. Now I can go submit that because it sucks submitting it. And then if you're told, well, no, you're done. Why? You know, I mean, let's start taking things out of the mix that we can. It seems like it's pretty simple. I don't know why the gig companies, and I don't even know why I would offer to pay for it myself. They should, but I'd rather it be done right. So I would do that. It's my business. And if I want to make money, I would do that. But you guys, this is our first night back, and I know that we started off just kind of talking about haters and stuff, and that's okay. The haters will be haters, but hopefully they'll start seeing some love too and practice some Kim. That kindness is always free. So you know, you guys can practice Kim. It's not. There's no fee.
That didn't sound too good.
Right. Well, no. And just so you guys know, no, I did not send John, Marco, Hannibal, and Kim a check. Hannibal did not send me, John, Nova, Kim a check. Kim did not send. This is, and that's one of the. I hate saying this, but that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. If you believe that,
bizarre. It was a bizarre theory thrown around. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all right, okay.
Yeah, haters gonna hate, but I mean, at least they could get creative, Ceci. You know, like make it look like you at least put in a little effort in your lie. I mean, don't just be like, "Hey, man, you know what they do is they pay all each other."
And say everybody could have just come. Like if it was that big, like come and make your own assessment of the thing. Like I feel like a lot of times people make assessments that weren't there and didn't realize what exactly happened. So, you know, it was open to anybody who wanted to come.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Rick's right too, though. Haters are views. So, hate all you want, guys. But I guess what I'm saying is I would, instead of hating, look, you're probably not going to listen to this, but if you do, if there's some stragglers out there going, man, I'm hanging around some real idiots, you're probably right. And what I would say is just start to like watching some things and deciding for yourself. Don't let other people tell you, oh, that's just BS. Decide for yourself. Because I see it all the time. I see descendants coming from these groups of people going, you know what? Never mind. You actually are onto stuff. I'm sick of that crap. Well, okay, so that's a win. But to the haters, you know, just yeah. I mean, like Kim said, like, did you watch the town hall? I mean, I know there were tech issues with the GigCon, and we'll get that corrected by next year. But the event still happened. But did you watch the town hall? Because I've had specific comments on that one, and I got to say, like, to that, I don't think we could have asked for a better event. And a senator, a House member, you know, all these. I mean, we had so many people in attendance and good people and great questions. And we made a lot of impressions. Like Kim talked to Senator Priola for a while. Zach did, Sergio did. You know, I mean, this is to get into his ear. He was the one that shot down the bill. I mean, this isn't just, hey, we got a video out on this. This is a big deal. Like they got into his ear and said, you don't understand what's going on. I mean, Kim's shoving screenshots in his face. Look at this. Look at this.
I figured if I had his ear and his eyes, I might as well show him what I'm talking about. Because honestly, if you don't know the gig world and you don't like, you're just listening to someone talk, you're just like, yeah, I have no idea what this chick is even talking about. Like, she must be crazy. But if you actually show them tangible stuff like that, it actually exists, they can be like, they have like a visual. They can say, hey, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Or really? Like when I showed him like a really, because of course I keep like everything on my phone and every order, and I showed him like a really big, he's like, why would anybody take that? I'm like, that's the point.
I think every politician owes us an hour of a ride along. I think we should be able to place you with people too. Like if you live somewhere, we can even give you to a hater. If we really don't like you, like, yeah, you're gonna do a ride along with this guy, you're gonna hate it. But I think it'd be a big deal to go like, okay, so how does this work? They'll say, so what I do is sit here and decline 10,000 of them, hoping I get one.
Basically.
They're not transparent. They're not. So I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to get back into that because I have a bunch of stuff to be putting out now. So I'm moving past and looking forward to next year. To everybody who came, to everybody who didn't come, who watched live, who participated, who in any way, because there were lives and other people's all kinds of stuff going on. But even saying you want to come next year, if you wanted to come this year, any of that kind of stuff is great. And if you're so close-minded that you don't even want to think about it, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not for everybody, and maybe you have your reasons, but you shouldn't hate because we're not there. I mean, here's my thing. Are we having fun? Yeah. Yeah, we want to have some fun. But we pulled off some great events too. Like there was some real content and meat on the bones. So, I mean, if you wouldn't want to like understand what's coming to every state, probably don't want to come. If you don't want to meet the companies that are transparent, probably don't want to come. When somebody said like, you guys need to get DoorDash there. Why? To be honest, I wouldn't even want Tony Schuh there. And I'm not kidding. Why would we have him there? He would just lie. He would softball stuff but he wouldn't come anyway. And what would be the point?
I think honestly, if any of the companies like DoorDash was there, I don't think we could have been as open and honest and had, really deep dive conversations, because do you want to have those conversations in front of a lot of these exec that own these apps? Like, I just don't think, in my opinion, that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah. And also, would we have wanted them at the town hall? I mean, I wouldn't have wanted them catching Senator Priola's ear because they're trained on how to trash this stuff. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's they shouldn't be there. The gig apps that were there were the Gary's apps, Solo, Moves, Curry, things that we know are transparent that pay you right. Like, and again, even if like Curry wasn't one of my favorite apps and great pay, even if the pay was just okay or just decent at best, I would still say full transparency. That I can't complain about that. I just wouldn't take the offers. But they're fully transparent since day one. So we had good companies there that are, the saddest part, I guess, is, and it's great for the people who do these apps, but the saddest part is that these apps shouldn't even have to exist because the apps themselves could just be providing all the things we need extra steps for. So, with that said, what do you guys got going? John, Nova, Hannibal, Kim, what do you guys got going this week?
Still working on the same old stuff, some videos, a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting Walmart Spark stuff, but I'm still working on the same video I have been. Just almost should be popping out here, hopefully in the next couple of days.
But Walmart Spark stuff is not positive, though, is it?
It depends on who. It depends if you're an investor or you're a worker. If you're an investor, you're gonna be making more money. So if you're a worker, you should probably be investing as well. Just FYI.
What about you, Nova? What do you got going?
Not much, just still I've been doing a lot of catering orders lately, like all these like delivered and Para, Zifty. So I've been doing at least one a day. So it's been pretty steady for me, just kind of trying to make money like everybody else.
Yep. Hannibal, what about you? Now that you're back home and rested?
I know, back home chilling. Yeah, rested. Right. Actually, I'm finishing up a video about. So this, I guess we've already discussed this a lot of times, but when you get deactivated from DoorDash, if you didn't cash that money out, they're not going to give it to you. They're going to hold it, and sometimes the reason for deactivation is, probably full of crap, or there's always some issues. So right now in New York City, there's about 13 cases been submitted in the past week to the Department of Consumer and Worker Protections, saying that they've been, workers have been saying they're unfairly locked out of their accounts. And apparently from all the gig apps, DoorDash is the biggest, I guess, of all of the apps doing, holding people's money and locking them out of accounts. DoorDash is like the leader of that. That's their thing, apparently. From Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash seems to do this often. And this organization has been recovering thousands of dollars from wages coming from DoorDash. So I'm finishing up that video. Hopefully that should be done in a few days. But it just shows, DoorDash is taking hits. It's like Uber taking, lawsuits, not, trying not to pay, trying to make it seem like they're doing nothing wrong. But and a lot of these people that are being affected are from, immigrant communities. They're submitting all the information that shouldn't be happening, but they're getting locked out of accounts and $1,200 gone. Where in New York City, if you lose $1,200 that you earned, you can't pay your bills, you can't take care of yourself. So I should be finished with that video up in a few days.
And Kim?
Just real quick, Hannibal, I did talk to Senator Priola in Colorado about that. He had absolutely no idea that practice even existed in the gig world. So
yeah, we need more people. Definitely.
I did talk his ear off about that piece of it. But he was just like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that people have earned this money and DoorDash keeps it? And they said, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that was one of the eye-opening experience. But anyway, so for me, obviously I have videos coming out. I have 2 already filmed. I'm editing one for tomorrow, edit one for the following day. I'm trying to think what else. Tuesday, my live, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Money Hungry on the RiDESHARE Guy on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then I'm back here again Thursdays for the Rodeo Roundtable, and that kind of rounds out my week.
Nice. And so I know that everybody watched Last Mile yesterday. I actually just ended up calling it 20 minutes. It was like one of the only live streams I've ever just said, I got to call it, because we lost a pet yesterday or the night before, really late. But and somebody actually, I'm not even going to say who, because they know who, and I straightened it out. But somebody texted me, hey, at least it wasn't your dog.
What?
I think somebody was trying. I think what they were trying to say is it was just a bearded dragon. Get over it, kind of thing. And like my son and I love our dog, but we love our bearded dragon too.
That's a very weird.
He was almost with us for 10 years, man.
Like, it's a relationship. Period.
He's family, man. So I was just having a hard time. But one thing I was going to hit on yesterday with Last Mile, because I know people have been asking, so it will be next week on Last Mile. I will be talking about the new para thing that you guys are all asking about. So don't ask. Sit tight. Wednesday, I'm allowed to talk about it in full. And I don't even know what I was allowed to talk about yesterday, but I knew some things, but I clarified, and next Wednesday I will be able to talk about all of it. So stay tuned, because there's some more stuff coming up there. And the para works, just a lot of things coming on with para, but some people have been noticing something that happened. If you sign into para right now, there's a new thing. So anyway, with that said, guys, 13 minutes of news. I actually had a couple people ask me, why didn't 13 minutes drop on Saturday? Yeah, I normally don't miss any shows, guys, but Saturday I was at the event bringing you the most real news I've ever brought you.
Give the guy a break.
Senator, House members, gig workers, like, this was news. This was news, guys. The news was there. The Post was there. Come on. I mean, this was news. This was news. Yeah, exactly. I just needed there was no way I was going to drop a 13-minute video to fit into the day somewhere when we were doing that. So it's back this week. It will be awesome. Back on schedule. Things are back in the groove. You guys, if you didn't make it this year, make it next year to GigCon and to whatever other events we might have scheduled around it too, because we just learn as we go. So, I guess somebody's going to drop a little hint there, but next Wednesday, we'll talk about this in detail. So, You guys, with that said, we're out of here. Thank you for joining us, and earn smart, be safe, and we'll see you back here next week on the Roundtable. Peace.